Most retirees think running out of money happens because of some giant disaster, a stock market crash, a medical emergency, inflation going completely off the rails. But after watching thousands of people move through retirement, you start noticing something different. Most people don't lose their financial freedom in one massive explosion. They lose it slowly, quietly, one harmless-looking purchase at a time. Meanwhile, the retirees who stay calm, comfortable, and financially secure into their late 70s and 80s all seem to follow the same strange pattern. They stop buying certain things almost entirely, not because they're cheap, not because they're scared, and definitely not because they can't afford them. They simply realize those purchases never made life better in proportion to what they cost. And once they understood that, they never went back. Today, we're talking about the 7 things wealthy retirees quietly refuse to spend money on anymore. Some of these will feel obvious, some might sting a little, and the last one might completely change the way you think about retirement spending forever. Let's get into it. Number 7. Oversized houses. This one surprises people because most retirees spent decades believing the dream was always a bigger home, more square footage, more rooms, bigger yard, bigger kitchen, bigger everything. But once retirement actually arrives, something funny happens. The house that once felt like a symbol of success slowly turns into a full-time maintenance project. The stairs get more annoying every year. Empty bedrooms sit unused for months at a time. The yard becomes exhausting. And suddenly, you're heating, cooling, insuring, cleaning, repairing, and paying taxes on thousands of square feet you barely even walk through anymore. Wealthy retirees figure this out earlier than most. That's why so many of them quietly downsize long before they absolutely have to. Not because they're struggling financially, because they value freedom more than square footage. They'd rather spend money on peace of mind than granite countertops nobody uses. I knew a retired couple worth several $1,000,000 who sold their massive 5-bedroom suburban house and moved into a modest 2-bedroom condo near downtown. Their friends thought they were crazy. You can afford so much more, people kept telling them, and the husband would laugh and say, exactly. That's why we don't want it anymore. Their property taxes dropped by almost $10,000 a year. Utilities got cut in half. Maintenance became almost non-existent. And suddenly they had more time, more flexibility, and less stress. Meanwhile, their old neighbors were still replacing roofs, repairing sprinklers, repainting fences, and arguing with landscapers every other month. Here's the reality nobody talks about. A house is not just a purchase, it's a permanent monthly responsibility. And the bigger it is, the more aggressively it drains your retirement. Wealthy retirees understand that comfort matters. Ego doesn't. Number 6. Expensive restaurant habits. Now don't misunderstand this one. Wealthy retirees absolutely enjoy good food. Some of them eat incredibly well, but they stop treating restaurants like entertainment every single day of the week. A lot of retirees fall into this strange pattern after leaving work. They're bored. They want something to do. Cooking feels like effort, so breakfast becomes a diner trip. Lunch turns into takeout. Dinner becomes another restaurant visit because why not? Individually, none of it seems dangerous. $15 here, $30 there, maybe $70 for dinner on weekends. But added up over an entire year and the numbers become absurd. A couple eating out 5 times a week can easily spend $15,000 to $20,000 annually without even realizing it. Wealthy retirees notice something most people miss. Restaurants don't just cost money. They quietly inflate your entire lifestyle. Once eating out becomes your normal routine, home-cooked meals suddenly feel boring. Expectations rise, spending rises, and before long, your retirement budget starts leaking from 1,000 tiny holes. The financially comfortable retirees I've met usually develop simple routines instead. They cook at home most days. They learn a few meals they genuinely enjoy making. They invite friends over instead of meeting at overpriced restaurants constantly. And when they do go out, it feels intentional instead of automatic. One retired engineer told me something I'll never forget. He said, "The best restaurant meal I ever had cost me $12 because I was hungry, relaxed, and sitting with people I loved. The worst one cost me $300 because I was trying to impress somebody." That right there explains the entire difference. Wealthy retirees spend on experiences that actually improve life, not routines that quietly empty their accounts. Number 5. Collecting stuff they don't use. This becomes a huge problem in retirement because people suddenly have more time. And unfortunately, more time often leads to more shopping. Some retirees start collecting gadgets. Others collect tools, decorative items, seasonal decorations, exercise equipment, kitchen appliances, storage bins to hold all the other stuff they bought. It becomes this endless cycle where people keep purchasing things for the fantasy version of themselves. The version that's going to become a gourmet chef, or finally start woodworking, or organize the garage perfectly, or turn the guest room into a yoga studio. Meanwhile, the stuff just piles up. Wealthy retirees eventually realize something almost nobody else does. Every object in your house costs you twice. First when you buy it, then forever afterward in maintenance, storage, cleaning, organization, and mental clutter. I visited the home of a retired business owner once, net worth easily over $5 million, and his garage looked shockingly empty. No mountains of junk, no unopened boxes from Amazon, no forgotten exercise machines collecting dust under beach towels, just a few tools he actually used, a clean workbench, and plenty of open space. He told me, at some point, I realized I wasn't owning my stuff anymore. My stuff was owning me. Most retirees never reach that realization. They keep buying tiny little dopamine hits disguised as purchases. Wealthy retirees become ruthless about this. Before they buy anything non-essential, they ask one simple question: where exactly is this going to live? If they don't have a clear answer, they don't buy it because they know clutter isn't harmless. It slowly steals your attention, your energy, your peace, and eventually your money. Number 4. Helping adult children beyond reason. Now this one is sensitive, so listen carefully. Wealthy retirees absolutely help their families. Many are incredibly generous, but they understand the difference between helping and financially rescuing grown adults. Over and over again, some retirees spend decades sacrificing their own security because they feel guilty, saying no to their children. They pay for apartments, cover car payments, bail them out of credit card debt, co-sign loans, fund lifestyles their kids can't actually afford, and it usually starts with good intentions. They just need a little help. They're going through a tough time. I want to make life easier for them, but sometimes that temporary help quietly becomes permanent dependency. I've seen retirees drain hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to financially support adult children who never learned to stand on their own feet. Meanwhile, the wealthy retirees who stay financially stable tend to follow a very different philosophy. They help strategically, not emotionally. Education? Maybe. Emergency medical situations? Absolutely. Temporary hardship? Sure, within reason. But they refuse to become an endless ATM machine for grown adults making repeated bad decisions. One wealthy retired woman put it perfectly. She said, "I love my children too much to financially cripple myself trying to protect them from every consequence." That sounds harsh until you realize how true it is, because once retirees destroy their own financial security, guess what usually happens next? The same children eventually have to support them anyway. Wealthy retirees understand that protecting your retirement is not selfish, it's responsible. The greatest gift many parents can give their children is never becoming financially dependent on them later. Number 3. Constant subscription payments. This one is sneaky because modern life is built around invisible monthly charges, streaming services, premium apps, cloud storage, meal delivery memberships, gym memberships nobody uses, software subscriptions, monthly boxes filled with random products, news subscriptions, music platforms, automatic renewals hiding quietly on credit cards for years. Most people have no idea how much money disappears this way every month because the payments are designed to feel small enough not to notice. $10 here, $15 there, $25 over there. But wealthy retirees notice because they pay attention to recurring expenses obsessively. They understand that monthly payments are dangerous, specifically because they become invisible. I knew one retired accountant who reviewed every single recurring charge every January like clockwork. If he hadn't used something in 3 months, it was gone immediately. No emotional attachment, no maybe someday. Gone. And his reasoning was brilliant. He said, "Subscriptions are the closest thing companies have ever created to legal financial bleeding." Think about it. Companies love subscriptions because people forget about them. Wealthy retirees know this, which is why they keep their financial lives incredibly simple. Fewer recurring payments, fewer hidden charges, fewer financial leaks. Most financially comfortable retirees aren't necessarily earning more. They're just far better at stopping small amounts of money from quietly escaping every month for decades. Number 2. Trying to look younger than they are. This one might upset some people, but it's real. There's an entire industry built around convincing retirees that aging naturally is somehow a failure. Endless cosmetic procedures, anti-aging creams that cost hundreds of dollars, supplements promising miracle results, hair restoration treatments, luxury skincare routines, constantly upgrading wardrobes to chase trends aimed at people 30 years younger. And look, taking care of yourself is important. Staying healthy matters. Feeling confident matters. But wealthy retirees stop spending massive amounts of money trying to win a battle nobody has ever won. They focus on health, not image. Walking every day, eating reasonably well, sleeping properly, staying socially connected, reducing stress. Those things actually improve life. But trying to purchase eternal youth becomes an endless money pit because there is literally no finish line. There's always another treatment, another procedure, another product promising to erase 10 years overnight. One retired doctor explained it better than anybody I've ever heard. He said, most anti-aging products are really anti-anxiety products, and once you hear that, you can't unhear it. Wealthy retirees eventually become comfortable with who they are. They stop trying to impress strangers at restaurants or look 20 years younger at family gatherings. Ironically, that confidence usually makes them seem younger anyway, because stress ages people faster than wrinkles ever will. And number 1, buying things to escape boredom. This is the silent killer of retirement wealth, the one almost nobody notices, until years later when they suddenly wonder where all the money went. Here's what happens to a lot of people after retirement. Work disappears, structure disappears, deadlines disappear, and suddenly there are long stretches of unstructured time sitting in front of them every single day. That sounds amazing at first, until boredom quietly creeps in. And boredom is expensive, because modern society has trained people to solve boredom with spending. You're bored, so you browse Amazon. You walk through Costco for just one thing, and leave with $300 of stuff you didn't need. You book trips you can't comfortably afford because staying home feels dull. You upgrade perfectly functional furniture because the house feels stale. You buy gadgets hoping they'll create excitement, but they rarely do. Not for long anyway. Wealthy retirees figure out something incredibly important. Fulfillment and consumption are not the same thing. So instead of shopping for stimulation, they build routines that actually create meaning. They volunteer, exercise, garden, mentor younger people, read constantly, spend time with grandchildren, join community groups, learn skills, walk every morning, develop hobbies that create satisfaction instead of just temporary excitement. One retired teacher told me, the happiest retirees I know aren't the ones spending the most money. They're the ones who stayed curious after work ended. That line stuck with me because it's true. Curiosity is cheap. Meaning is cheap. Purpose is cheap. Endless consumption is what becomes expensive. And the saddest part is that spending usually doesn't even solve the boredom anyway. It just distracts from it for a few hours until the next package arrives on the porch and the cycle starts all over again. Here's the deeper truth behind all 7 of these habits. Wealthy retirees don't actually think about money the way most people do. They don't view spending as proof of success. They view freedom as success. Freedom to sleep without financial anxiety. Freedom to help family when it genuinely matters. Freedom to say no to jobs they hate. Freedom to handle emergencies calmly. Freedom to enjoy ordinary days without constantly worrying whether the money will last. That's the real goal. And once people truly understand that, their spending starts changing automatically. Suddenly the oversized house doesn't seem impressive anymore. The luxury logo loses its magic. The endless upgrades stop feeling necessary because they realize every unnecessary expense quietly steals a tiny piece of future freedom. And wealthy retirees protect their freedom aggressively, not through extreme frugality, not through deprivation, but through intentionality. They spend on what genuinely improves life and ruthlessly ignore the rest. That's the difference. It's not about never enjoying money. It's about refusing to waste it. Chasing emotions purchases can never permanently fix, because after decades of watching retirees succeed or struggle financially, one thing becomes painfully obvious. The people who stay comfortable aren't usually the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who mastered the ability to say, no thanks, I really don't need that. And honestly, that might be one of the most valuable financial skills a person can ever develop.